Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is the ELF Elemental Focal Reading for Earth signs for Oh, I got interrupted by loud vehicles. This is for Earth signs for or Earth energy rather. Earth energy for September 14th through October 13th. There's some stuff going on that's worthy of mention as an energy report. So there is going to be a section before the piles. So this is a choose a pile reading this month. And if you're looking at what your planets are doing, Earth energy is going to be Venus, Mercury, or Capricorn. And if you're watching for your astrological signs, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn in the chat. So, figuratively, what I have here for choices for Earth signs is Earth elemental energy, we have an inner child pile, and I've got some important information about naming the inner child there. So if you're interested in that, then at least watch the beginning of that. Another motorcycle. I have the solar chakra pile here, and that is for anyone who knows they have a solar chakra wounding. If you're having self-confidence issues, having trouble really following your gut instincts, that's going to be for you. And then we have karmic debt. What's that albatross around your neck? You know, karmic debt with interest. So the readings, the spreads that I'm using, I have for the inner child, in case this is helpful for you picking your pile. It's going to be a triptych door spread, which is one that I offer in my list down below. And I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Mini Rider-Waite Tarot. For the solar chakra, it's going to be a 9-grid Lenormand, which usually has a 10th card that's an oracle card, but in this case I'm using my charm bucket, which I do have versions of for sale. Either print your own or you can buy one of the 2 proof sets that I've printed out already, and those are on Etsy, or you can get the printable downloadable version on DeviantArt as well. So that's information that's going to be available later, or you can check out my link tree. The deck here is the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. It's the only Lenormand deck that I have right now until I either make one or buy another. And the Karmic Debt pile is the Aquarian Tarot and the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and this is my Help Me I Can't Afford a Reading spread. It's a 6-card spread that I offer for $9, so I'm just using the format of that spread for that particular pile. In the instance that you actually can't afford a reading and you can scrape together $9, I can use that format and stretch out the placement of the cards to mimic the other readings that I offer. So all that information is going to be down below. And I think that's it. So Earth energy, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, or if you're looking at the astrology signs, it's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And again, we're kind of eyeballing this for between September 14th and October 13th. That's just kind of coordinates for the reading. Everything is, time is wibbly wobbly, so it just sort of whenever you encounter this video is when it's for. I think I said there's stuff going on, especially with the retrogrades. So I am going to have a little energy report segment starting right after this intro, and then there'll be the readings. But if you want to listen to that stuff about naming the inner child before the actual little reading segment, click on the inner child timestamp to hear that too. All right. That's it, yeah. So we'll see you in your reading of choice. Where's my button? If you chose the inner child pile, this is your segment. So I've got September 14th through October 13th. We've got Earth energy. We're dealing with Venus, Mercury, and Saturn as planets involved in Earth energy. And if you're watching this for astrological signs, we have Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. So that's for sun, moon, rising, any planetary aspect that's coming up for you at this time within those planets or signs. I do want to point out that there's a lot going on at the beginning of October. Things are getting really heated up. Well, during this period, there's the full moon in Pisces, but that's not what's intriguing me as much. I mean, it seemed like there was kind of a lot going on in September in terms of the planets, but basically there's a lot of retrogrades. Mercury retrograde on the 27th of September in Libra. Right, full moon Pisces on the 20th. And the sun moving from Virgo to Libra on September 22nd. But what I'm really interested in is what's going on in October. There's retrogrades that are going direct. We have 4 retrogrades going direct in October. Ooh, this is intriguing. So we had 2 full moons in Aquarius in a row, and then we have the new moon. We have the full moon. Oh, the full moon in Pisces. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was in a different. But anyway, never mind. I was talking about Libra, Mercury retrograde in Libra, and then the new moon on October 6th is in Libra as well. But what I was gonna say that I was noticing in October is there's kind of alignments with these movements. Pluto is going direct in Capricorn on the last day of Venus being in Scorpio, on the same day of the new moon in Libra. Those don't seem to have a lot to do with each other, but they're all happening on the same day. And it feels like that's setting up a domino effect for what's happening on the 11th of October. There isn't a retrograde. I was going to say there isn't a retrograde going direct then, but there is. But there isn't a major planetary shift movement to go along with it. But it's the second day, on the 11th of October, Saturn goes direct in Aquarius, while the moon is on its second day in Sagittarius. It is actually kind of a chain link. It's like a domino effect. Especially when you consider that on the 11th, Venus is going to be in Sagittarius. Sort of like moving the goalpost. But I feel like I should explain it a little bit better. Pluto going direct on the 6th is a chain link, the first domino in the string, because Saturn goes direct on the 11th. Pluto is in Capricorn, and Saturn is the ruling planet. So something moves in Capricorn, and then something else that's related to that energy moves. Then on the 18th, Mercury and Jupiter go direct. Right? Jupiter ruled by Sagittarius in Aquarius going direct on the 18th. Mercury going direct on the 18th in Libra. And the 18th is when the moon goes into Aries. And that's not that significant, but the full moon is in Aries 2 days later. I know this is outside the scope of this reading, but there's a chain link of events here, right? So there's 2 planets going direct, the full moon, and then right after that, on the 23rd, the sun moves into Scorpio. And it feels like everything's just being dragged. It's like the gears all starting to churn in an engine that's been not turning over. Like the wheels on the bus are actually going to start to go around. And it's kind of exciting. It's last year's retrograde season seemed like super long and difficult. This year the retrograde season seemed like oh my god, like everything's retrograde, what the hell? And now it's everything's moving at once. But don't worry, there's still plenty of stuff retrograde. Chiron, the North Node, and Uranus. Alright, so that's a lot. Why is there an helicopter? It's weird to get helicopters around these parts. So, I've got this inner child reading, which may or may not be playing off of those October energies. But if you think about retrograde, it's sort of looking back towards the past, and where, but in the past would be the inner child. So I should point out that the inner child has both male and female aspects. If you've only dealt with one of them, then you'll need to deal with the other one. I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot for the center door of this triptych door spread. And I'm using, I don't know why my voice is all gritty all of a sudden. Energy beam from the helicopter or something. And I've got the mini Rider-Waite for the side panels. So I did already clear and shuffle these decks, but I'm gonna, a little zhuzh here. You know what? I think instead of repeating that whole thing about the planets for every section, I'm just going to make a timestamp for that energy report. People can watch it if they want to or not. I don't know why I'm shuffling this so much. I already did it a lot. Okay. Oh, we got a double door here. Probably because the inner child is a duality in and of themselves. Look at these side panels. Oh, mama. Oh, okay, we're taking this flipped over one. Alright. Okay. I would like to say that I had a major overhaul, major release opening, and so on with my inner child this week. And the way that it happened was I had a really stressful event happen in my now life. And when I was calming down from it, it occurred to me, that perhaps something going back to childhood led to some of the issues I was dealing with now. And the thought that I had was, when I was really young, when I was a toddler, I had a nickname. And then when I was slightly older, like 4, 5, 6, or at least like 3, 4, 5, I had a different nickname at home that was sort of embarrassing for when I went to school. So when I went to kindergarten and people would mispronounce my name Teresa, they would say Teresa, which is not right. And I was too scared to stand up for myself and tell them that it wasn't right and to correct them. And for a while, for a good 10 years, it infuriated me, and I would try to correct people. But I worked a couple of jobs, or at least a job, where people called me by, at least some of the people called me by my name correctly. And I've sort of gotten over it. But sometimes even still, if I go to a medical place and they call me Teresa, I'll just be like, well, whatever. I only come here like a couple times a year. It's not really worth the effort. And then I go home and I'm like, I should have corrected them. And that stems back to that like fear of like contradicting authority and standing up for myself when I was little. And it sort of creates a lot of problems in the adult life. Because when you're adult and somebody's doing something that you find like off or threatening, and you're like, hey, no, they can't really do anything to you. But when you're a child and you're smaller, you're shorter, you're littler than the adults, they can just sort of bully you by the fact of being an adult. And I had that happen to me numerous times throughout my childhood, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So my point is that the way that I integrated this pinpoint of early childhood trauma to release more of the shadow of the inner child is, I was like, I always remember what happened to me in the past as, this is me when I was little. I don't identify like myself and child as separate things, except for when I look at photos of myself or I look at like old drawings and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like with in terms of like the volume of artwork. Like, this is manic obsessive. Like, what the hell were you on? Like, what was your damage? What's your boggle? And then when I look at photos of me as a child when I was little, it's like I remember things that happened as me, but when I see it, I'm like, who is that? Like, who is that person? So it's this sort of connective and dissociative thing that happens at the same time. But the point of me explaining all of my own crap here is really important to this inner child reading. If you were called a nickname as a child and you're having trouble opening up part of your inner child trauma to do the shadow work to reintegrate yourself, you have to summon the inner child by those nicknames. I mean, if somebody called you a piece of shit or an asshole, maybe not. But if your name is like Charles and they called you Skippy, then to integrate that inner child, you have to address it as Skippy. If your name is trying to think of a girl's name. If your name is like Kristen or Christy or something, and you were called Kiki as a small child, or Sweetie, or something totally or some other word, you have to address that inner child as Kiki or Sweetie to be able to integrate it. It's kind of the same property as summoning a demon. You have to know its true name. And it's not to say that your inner child is a demon. It's just that they don't have the identity of Charles or Christy or like Tabitha. You know, like if your name is Edward and everybody called you Teddy as a child, then the entity Teddy that's in your shadow self, that's the little kid, isn't going to respond to me as Edward thinking about it. You know, it's like people with their pets. It's like, this is my pet Francis, but we call him Trapdoor. You know, if you want to integrate that pet, they're not going to respond to their legal name. You know, that and that's how it works with the inner child. This is a new thing that's probably really simple and should be intuitive. It should be obvious. But the thing is, if the inner child is traumatized and we associate that name with trauma, then we're going to try to sweep it under the rug and avoid it. And it's like all you have to do is just sort of recite the name, and it can unlock that potential, whereas you're like healing your inner child as hard as you possibly can, and it's like sand running through your fingers and there's nothing to grab onto to like mash into yourself. It just runs off like water. It dissolves into mist. And the way to integrate that, to truly get that healing and work done, is to summon that inner child piece by its name. So there's that. So let's look at the cards here, now that I've gone on for almost 20 minutes. Okay. So we're looking at one side of the issue. We have the Ten of Wands. Right? It hurts. It's too hard. I can't bear it. I'm overwhelmed. But 10 is also a completion. I'm also getting this energy, the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like in the movie Wolf. When Jack Nicholson's character starts to kick some ass and his publishing secretary is like, has the worm turned? And he's like, the worm has turned, Mary, and is now packing an Uzi. This is like the frame of the movie, 30 seconds before he started kicking ass, is like, I'm getting to a point where I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to keep doing this. The other side of the equation, we have the Page of Wands. This looks like the same dude. He's like, I'm not going to be wearing this work vest anymore. I'm putting on my travel clothes. I'm not carrying all this crap. I'm going to only carry my own goals here. I'm not going to my parents aren't going to vicariously live through me. People aren't going to kick me and make fun of me. I'm not going to wear this hairstyle that I hate. I'm not going to wear these clothes that I hate. I'm not going to wear this name that I hate. I'm not going to eat this food that I hate. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do what I want to do. Right? It's the Ace Ventura 2. When he's rolling the slinky down the temple stairs, and the guy is like, hey, we need to go. And Ace Ventura's like, well, let's do all the things that you want to do. And this is the thing that you want to do. So the in-between of the overwhelm and burdens and just kind of, let's just say, societal or familial pressures. And we go to a page here. This is an 11, right? And in between, we would want to see, between 10 wands and 11 wands, we'd want to see an Ace of Wands. That's the whole other reading, that's the Lenormand reading for this month in Earth energy, is all about the solar chakra, the self-confidence. And that's what the Ace of Wands can be. It's what is your calling? What is your gut telling you to do? If you've ignored your gut feelings, then you're going to be overwhelmed by a bunch of crap that you didn't even want to get yourself into, right? I have a bad feeling about this. I have a hard time getting through this. Something keeps nagging at me, but I ignore it. And now I've got all this extra garbage to carry, all this emotional baggage, all this stuff that has nothing to do with me. Like, who are you carrying all these sticks for? This is one of those crosses to bear moment, right? If there was any more stuff being carried, it would have to go crossways. But it's like, no, I'm going to put on my travel clothes and be like, toodaloo, motherfucker. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And we have these pyramids here indicating some kind of acquisition of knowledge. And the idea of crossing a mountain, crossing some kind of a burden. So we have this double door in the middle. We have the Magician inverted, and I can tell you what that is. I mean, it's also Uranus retrograde in Taurus right now. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles inverted. Eight of Pentacles inverted would indicate a resistance to work. Notice how this spider web here looks an awful lot like this portal here. It's like a breaking through the glass ceiling as well. It looks like shattered glass. This Eight of Pentacles possibly not doing work with this Magician inverted. You can't pull a fast one on the universe. What was that movie I just saw? There's some movie I just saw where it was like there are no shortcuts to happiness. I've watched so many movies lately, I don't even remember what it was. Oh, I know, it was some weird movie with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins and Jennifer Love Hewitt miscast as the devil. That's what that's from. There's no shortcut to happiness. So when I see the Magician inverted, usually it means to me that someone's trying to pull a fast one on the universe. Right? Not like expecting the universe to work how they want it to, instead of striking out with their instinct for their being in touch with the soul purpose, and allowing the universe to create its equal contribution, co-creation. But let me look at the energy here. The Magician, like I said, is... Oh, did I say Uranus? That's the Fool energy. This is Mercury retrograde. It's not the... that was my mistake. It's not the Uranus retrograde. I don't know why I thought that. Mercury retrograde. So we have Mercury here with that Virgo energy. And the 8 is the sun in Virgo. But even so, it's still Mercury retrograde. So we're looking at September. Why are we looking at September 18th? No. We're looking at October 18th when those other retrogrades go direct. Yeah, October 18th, the end of the Mercury retrograde. Doesn't sound like it. I actually do know what I'm talking about. If I have a spider's web and I'm walking into it, my direction is upright. I'm going to get stuck in it. If I pull myself away from the spider's web, I'm becoming unstuck from something. I'm no longer fodder for something. When I see a Virgo card inverted, it tells me some kind of like a maturity. When I see this magician inverted, the magician is the wizard, the wise man. It's like becoming young again while also maturing, right? The healing of the integration of the inner child, where it's no longer stuck in the cobwebs in a closet. Right? I've removed all the things barring the doors. So let's look at the bottoms of the deck real quick here. 7 of Swords inverted. Is that Mercury as well? It's traditionally the moon in Aquarius. When is the moon in Aquarius? The 14th and 15th of October. Let's look at September. Ah, the 17th and 18th of September. So between the 18th of September and the 18th of October, there's this kind of portal opening, this fracturing. It's kind of like breaking a mirror, and your inner child is like a ghost that's trapped in the mirror. The 7 of Swords is typically that like ninja thief energy. And I see the 7 and I see the 8, and it does make me think devil energy, that binding. This would be a release here. But if I compare this to this, it's I'm not letting other people take my energy from me. I'm not allowing their thoughts to pull away from myself. The Magician inverted is a lot like this card upright, trying to pull a fast one on the universe. But not only is there this, it's sort of a return to innocence in terms of co-creating with the universe, but there's also this releasing of like toxic mental patterns that have been sort of placed on you by other people, where your thoughts, you're sort of playing the broken record in your head over and over again. In this day, the people on the interwebs call it letting other people live rent-free in your head, right? Whatever other people have said to you, whatever their thoughts are, no longer get to live rent-free in your head, because you're going to go on about your own goddamn thoughts, right? You're not doing this, it's like a funhouse mirror. Funhouse mirror is like all this crap that other people have said about you. You look into the mirror, and what you see is a distortion based on points of view that are basically just reflections of other people. Oh, it's getting deep. Getting deep in here. So we have the Sun of Pentacles inverted. So we have another Pentacle inverted. This is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, Knight of Pentacles is usually the slow knight. Although when I do see a knight inverted, it tells me the Hanged Man. We also have a moon energy here. The Knight of Pentacles energy is Leo and Virgo energy. But any Leo card inverted tells me the moon. So we're still dealing with that moon in Aquarius on September 18th. Coming to culmination with Mercury direct and Jupiter direct on October 18th. Right? Your luck is changing. Your ability to communicate with other people is gaining illumination by sort of feeding light. Look at this, so much light into the interior. Because sometimes cards that are upside down have to do with the interior. The shadow is becoming illuminated. This idea of co-creating with the universe starts to be able to open up more as this funhouse mirror that your inner child thought was who they really are becomes shattered. Okay? That's what's on the table here. And notice moon in Aquarius. After those 2 full moons in Aquarius. July and August. Alright? So that's the inner child spread here. If you want more information, apparently it's probably going to come out in the Lenormand 9 grid section of this video, which is going to be next. But if you want more information on this inner child, check out my list of readings. You can, I keep thinking of Roadblock Mogul, so apparently that's probably one of them. I have other readings though. You can, if you want more information about this that's more personal, take a look at those. It's in the list in the description box down below. So if you want anything else besides more tarot, I do have coloring books, dark poetry, merch and prints and actual art items. Coupon code 3star17 on Etsy will get you 17% off a purchase of 3 or more items. A lot of my stuff is going to be psychedelic, related to sort of energy type stuff, like this cat logo here. I do have portraits and animals and mythical beings and some other stuff available. So check that out if you're interested or curious. You can hang out with me on social media. And if you found this reading helpful or interesting or useful in some way, consider energy exchange, tip jar, donations. That's PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. If you would like to get a personal reading, you can email me, thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com, for any other questions or inquiries. Also that email. Everything here is through the link tree. That's linktr.ee/cattheminion. So all you have to do is scroll down and click on it, because my email is a little bit strange. And if you go through the link tree, that coupon code should pop in at the top of Etsy. So that makes that a little easier as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Here we are. This is the solar chakra pile. I've got the Gilded Reverie Lenormand, because it's the only Lenormand deck that I have right now. So I did clear and shuffle it. I'm just going to get it a little bit more. So if you skipped the energy report section of this video before the piles, you might want to go back and watch that. because there's some stuff going on with the retrogrades and moon energy that's really significant throughout the early part of October. So this is for September 14th through October 13th. We're dealing with the solar chakra here. We're talking about self-confidence. We're talking about your gut feelings, your instincts. We're talking about your sort of soul directive, your life purpose, your modus operandi, your connection to spirit, to your higher self, that kind of deal. There's a tiny little bug thing that I can't get. Normally with my Lenormand readings, oh, I forgot to say this is for Earth energy, so we're dealing with Venus, Mercury, and Saturn as planets involved in that, and we've got Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus if you are watching this or cross-watching this for astrological signs. It's definitely an option. Alright. So, the way that my 9-grid Lenormand reading works is I have 9 cards and they're set up in a grid except for one of the ones I did for whoever was before Earth. I think it was air? Maybe? Yeah, air. When I did the air reading last week, the Lenormand did not want to go in a regular 3x3 grid, and that's never happened to me before. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Usually I have an oracle card to get like an overview, wrap up, kind of a synopsis. And instead of getting a regular oracle card, I have decided to use, well, I didn't really decide, I didn't want to, but it made me. It made me do it. I got my charm bucket here. So I did clear them and shake them up already. I did have some of them fall out and I had to put them back because I wasn't ready yet. So instead of an oracle card, I'm just getting some of these. It's one of them that's trying to come out and I want it to go back in. You can purchase these charms if you'd like to. I have 2 draft sets that are available in my Etsy shop, and then you can also download and print your own of these paper charms, either in my Etsy shop or in my DeviantArt print shop. And I used printer cardstock. I believe it's 80-pound paper, but if you've got some other material or paper or cardstock that you can get through your printer, then you can print them out as many times as you want after purchasing them. Or you can buy the 2 paper sets that I've got. Either way, you have to cut them out yourself, and they're only paper right now until I'm able to make bas-relief versions. I gotta get some income and then think about buying some polymers, clay stuff, and silicone molding material and or epoxy. But for now you can buy paper charms. And you can color them in and customize them or glue them to wood or any other dice or whatever you want to do. So we're doing charms. And we're doing Lenormand, and we're doing Earth energy, and we're talking about the solar chakra. So let's see what this giant mass of charms wants to talk about before we get into the cards. I'm just pulling out the charms that are inverted, i.e. the ones that are face down, that's when they're inverted, from the upright ones. So let's look at these upright charms first. And I get this focused a little better on the whole deal here. And I do have, my battery's gonna go pretty soon, so we'll see how long this segment lasts. Hopefully I will notice when it stops and not be in the middle of blathering on for an hour. Come on, work with me now, Paul Crimson. I think that's in focus. Okay. So we have the sun. Of course, if we're in the solar chakra, it's kind of what we want to do. So I have the shield here. And I have glasses. Now these could, if these were the sunglasses, I would be like, aha, it's a shield from the sun. But these are reading glasses. These are the reading glasses. I have the boom box. I have the cello. I have the mermaid or mer person. It's supposed to be sort of gender neutral there. So we have a mer person. We have the masculine figure. We have the snowman. Ooh, melting into water. I like that. Okay. I have a hamburger. The hamburger. And we have the shorts. Now these kind of are drawn like swim trunks. So, let me see what all the inverted charms are before I get into what's going on here. So inverted, I have a tree. I have the bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs. With the doorway. Just knocked 3 times. Okay, so inverted the sunglasses. Interesting. Taking off the sunglasses, which is probably why the snowman is melting. We have the ant. Got ants in your pants. Or in this case, possibly being removed. We have a t-shirt. Alright, the battery pieced out on t-shirt, but I put the other one in, so we're ready to go. So this t-shirt came out inverted, and it gives me this idea that this guy is like pulling on, he's taking off his reading glasses, he's taking off his t-shirt, he's thrown his sunglasses on the ground, he's going in the water. So also inverted, I have the club. And to me, this is like the Ace of Wands, whereas the sun is the sun. But the Ace of Wands is sort of homed in the solar chakra. But it's not an Olympic torch, it's just a club. But it's inverted. Stop clubbing, comma, baby seals. And then we have the bat inverted as well. For me, the bat can indicate sonar. It could be fruit bat. It could be like a vampire bat. It could be pest control. It could be sonar. Here, it's like, it gives me this like flying drunk idea. Like my sonar is down. But I'm seeing it in association with this shield, and I just watched 4 Star Trek movies, so my concept of the shield relating to the bat is like, I can't get a lock on it, or like where we can't find the position, like put all shields up, you know, full power to shields, because our sonar is down, our view is down. But here the glasses are upright, which would indicate that they're on. There's something that needs more attention to detail. And these are, I drew these kind of as bifocals, so it's sort of like a double vision. Like there's 2 things that you're supposed to keep your sights on. Bifocal. Right, like an ellipse. Now, if you think about it, planetary orbits are elliptical. Or planetary orbits are elliptical. I don't know why I'm talking weird. And you think of the sun as being generally accepted as the center of the solar system. And we've got bifocal energy, some kind of orbit. And again, if I'm thinking about starships, that has to do with navigating planetary orbits as well. But I'm not sure what this hamburger is doing, because it looks like it wants to be a planet. You know, like a comet, a meteor, some kind of asteroid floating out in space. It makes me think of Dr. Evil. So they had like a burger boy or something in one of the movies, and then Dr. Evil was out in space at some point. But I'm looking at this, and there's this idea of bifocal, right? We have a classical instrument, and then we have modern technology, right? There's elements that are both classical and elements that are technological, which is making me think of Daft Punk, Technologic. I do feel like this is a lot of like shaking the ants out of your pants. This guy is stripped down to his swim shorts, and there's this idea that he's also a snowman that's melting in the heat. But he's also a human that enjoys going swimming. It's like I have more structure when I'm cold, but when I'm heated up, then I have the freedom to explore where I want to. And even this mer person is a duality: land and sea, surf and turf. I see the bacon and eggs too, and it makes me think of a dual nature. It's not quite surf and turf, it's more like pretend flight and earthbound. Limited flight and earthbound. And I see the club and the tree as being part of the same system, but I'm not quite sure what that means yet. You could also see that as going into the wood of the door, and the shirt feels similar to the doorway. There's this idea of something being stripped off. I'm stripping the bark and the fragments of the tree away until I have something else. The t-shirt also indicates a fabric of sorts. I might be seeing... These also look like goggles, so these could be night vision goggles. But even still, no sonar, no night vision goggles with this, like, ants in my pants kind of energy. But the ant and the bat are going the same way. And I feel like the bat would eat the ant. They're sort of going in the same direction. So I'm not entirely sure what all of that means, but perhaps it will come out in the cards. But there's something going on with duality, right? Bifocal. It's not round. It's not a circle. It's elliptical. Also think of elliptical as in the exercise equipment elliptical, right? I want to look good for the beach. I'm going to stop eating so many hamburgers. But we'll see. So let's look at these cards. We're looking at something going on in the solar chakra. Alright. So in a challenge position, we have number 20, which has got weird ripples on the edge. The 8 of Swords in a challenge position. 8 of Swords is I want to break free. Here it's sort of like being at the precipice of like a mental block that prevents you from feeling comfortable in public spaces. So we have the alternate woman here. This is Venus energy. So we're looking at Taurus here for this reading. Taurian energy. Because it's earthbound energy. It's not the Libran air energy. Because we're looking at earth energy. This could also be the Hierophant. We have Ace of Swords. So we have this 8 trying to get to the Ace of Swords. I was talking about the Ace of Wands, but we have an Ace of Swords here. This is 20. That's the number of the Judgment card in regular tarot. We have 29 here, which breaks down to 11 or 2. So we have this aspect perhaps of universal timing or of the High Priestess. The Home inverted with King of Cups inverted. Possibly some kind of immaturity related to emotional center having to do with dysfunctional home life. This seems like this does seem like the perfect partner reading for the triptych door inner child reading. And I did get a feedback loop with some solar wands energy coming in the inner child reading. They are separate readings, but if you want a little bit more sauce on your sauce, extra awesome sauce, you might want to watch that one too. So we have the sarcophagus here, inverted. Number 8, which could be strength or justice, which does bring in Libra energy anyway. But I'm more interested in this 9 of Pentacles energy. Is that Mercury in Virgo? Oh, it's Venus in Virgo. Okay, that's why. Venus in Virgo. Inverted. This is sort of like a rebirth through maturing, but there's also this idea of a material loss involved in that. Or recovering health from a loss in the material world, whether it's financial, your house itself, or emotionally. Wow, we have the man here. That's, where is he? This guy. This guy right here. I really feel like this is a mermaid in this reading. And it doesn't mean like literally a woman, it just means the feminine energy, right? The Empress is the mother. When you have the mother, the maiden, and the crone. And the man is like the emperor. When you have the youth, the man, and the wizard, right? Mercurial energy, or the fool, and the emperor, and the magician. That's the trifecta of the male energy. And then the female is the mother, the maiden, the crone. That's Virgo energy. It's like the hermit, the maiden, the high priestess is the crone, and then the mother is the empress. So we have these two stacked on top of each other with 2 aces, the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. But these 2 characters are looking in opposite directions. There's a duality, right? I'm looking at this focus, you're looking at that focus. And we keep sort of rolling around like a lopsided tire. Because the ellipse doesn't always have, doesn't have as many practical applications. Helps if you don't say 2 words at once. It's that dual focus. An ellipse is good for pulleys and machines and things that are on strings. Cat's cradle is an ellipse. But in terms of movement, something that's round, that's balanced, tends to get you much further. Unless you want to roll in a tank, but you still need round wheels to move the elliptical tank belt thing. And speaking of movement, we have navigation here. We have the compass. This is Major Arcana energy. This is an extra card in this expanded deck. We have this idea of true north. 42 does make me think of the Lovers, because that's 6 Gemini energy, but we also have 4, the Emperor, and 2, the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the one that's coming in with the navigation system, which is what the bat was missing. Right? It's like the masculine's driving the car, but the High Priestess is navigating. Right? When you call shotgun, you get the front passenger seat, you get to be the navigator while the other person drives. And here we see what the role is going to be. The Emperor says, okay, this is where we're going. The High Priestess says, this is how we get there. And this could be for a romantic relationship, but it also could be just integration of your own masculine and feminine energies. And we see that this does seem to be tied to inner child stuff, possibly related to dysfunctional home life. But it doesn't have to be. This is what we're looking at is a template, an energy format. It's like a floor plan. And you can put your furniture wherever you want. Not everybody's going to have the same furniture. That's how that works. That's why it could be inner child, but it doesn't have to be. Right? You want a couch, but somebody's going to have one that's shaped like Pikachu, and someone's going to have one that's shaped like lips, and someone that's going to have a couch that's just shaped like a rectangle, like a regular couch. That's why different situations can work off of the same energy template. Okay, so we have the dog inverted here, loyalty, 18, 10 of cups inverted, so we have sort of broken promises. What's there some... Is it Green Day that had the song Boulevard of Broken Dreams? They were really popular when I was in high school, and I didn't give a shit, so I don't remember all their songs. But we have, like, heartbroken, like, broken promises, youthful expectations perhaps not fulfilled. Some kind of... what is that? Who's it? Bonnie Tyler? Or is it Bonnie Tyler? The heartache thing there? Whatever. But this illness here, possible illness here is like, it could be love sickness, or it could be like a psychosomatic illness, emotional trauma leading to like nervous tics as you age, right? Social anxiety, sort of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, ships passing in the night, that kind of stuff, where you're just sort of frazzled by having to deal with life at all, because it seems like things are always letting you down no matter what you put into them. You know, it's like, I'm being a good boy, I'm trying to have faith in the universe and people around me, and I feel like stabbed in the back. And especially because a 10 of cups inverted does take on the same connotation as a 10 of swords, which is the overkill card. Right? It's, you know, it's like I had the expectation of, you know, basic human interaction, basic, like, oh, if you say we're gonna go out, we're actually gonna go out. Like, oh, we're gonna play, we're actually gonna play. Like, oh, you're just getting me a simple toy, that's okay, as long as I know that it's, you know, a loving gesture, that kind of thing. But again, just this idea of like really simple, basic loyalty sort of like honesty, like jaded in suspicion and heartbreak, leading to like kind of like an emotional stunting that creates physical unrest, dis-ease, anxiety. Like mental anguish and confusion that doesn't have to be there. Eight of Swords, it's could be overcome, but it's hard because people are always looking at you. And then we have an 11. Now 11 could be a twin flame number if that's relevant to your situation, but it also has to do with universal timing. Ace, that's 11, and then we have 11 down here again. Now personally, I've been seeing 111 or 11 or 11 and then another double over and over again lately. And so far I've just been taking it as being a reminder of universal timing. But it's been standing out to me personally. I mean, I have a Capricorn stellium, so there's reason to believe that this reading would be coming for me a little bit. So we have Jack of Wands here inverted, and I think that's what this is doing. Right? Jack is like a lower vibration of the ace. It's here I'm reading it as a page, especially because it says 11 here. And I'm saying it's like a lower vibration of the ace. A jack could also try to be a knight, but here I don't think it is, because we've got the alignment of the number 1. Because a jack could be a 1 or it could be an 11. But this card, this Birches card, is like a broom or a switch. When it's inverted, it means that there's no, like, the punishment isn't coming anymore. Right? It's like this puppy brings their owner the leash because they've been made to understand that they go out and the puppy goes to the bathroom and they play, but in some instance the puppy brought the leash and was whipped with it instead, which is what this could be upright. So I see those forms right next to each other, but here it's inverted. There's a karmic cleanup going on where this club is no longer in use as something, as a weapon, right? This sort of loyalty and openness to people no longer used as a weapon. Whereas you might be loyal to someone for a long time and they might be sucking the life out of you. Financially, emotionally, energetically, physically. And this is the no more. Nuh-uh. No way, Jose. And then we have the time card here, 37. This is also an extended deck card. Time. Coming in inverted. Again, this is sort of like stop the clock. I'm not playing this game anymore. Right? It's like everything's swirling around, people moving, and you hit that pause button, and then suddenly you have the opportunity to move around throughout the world when everything just stops moving. It's like, you know, those movies where it's like magic and everybody's just still and the person's still wandering around. They're either like a ghost in that realm, or it's like some magical being has stopped everything in motion. This is that freeze frame that you can still move around in. But if you think about the elliptical orbits of planets, you think, and the movement of the stars and everything, all of that has to do with navigation and time. Right? If you have, like, your speeds have to do with elements of time. Right? How fast are we going to get there? What direction are we going? There's a vector. Right? right? Direction and velocity. Velocity is like, velocity has to do with the speed and the acceleration, right? It's been a long time since I had physics, but that's the gist of it. You have miles per hour, distance navigation related to time. This is sort of like, slow down. We're changing, like, we have to stop going the direction that you've been going, and we're going to have a course correction. We have to turn the ship around. We're coming back from outer orbit. What does that have to do with these charms over here? I mean, you have breakfast, and I have a tree. Tree has to do with like roots, like uprooting, being connected to the upper world and the lower world. Here, there's this idea of things being unearthed, right? Discovering the root of the problem. Closing the door on stuff that hurts you in some way, right? Not, like, I'm not gonna wear your logo on my shirt anymore, and I'm not gonna wake up and have breakfast with you and your bullshit and pretend like everything's fine, right? I'm taking off these rose-colored goggles. I'm not letting you, like, climb in my pants and bite up my ass anymore. Like, I'm no longer flying blind. I'm finally getting some kind of direction. The sun has to do with time. If we think about looking where the shadows grow, a sundial has to do with time. And it's also sort of directional, because if you look at where the sun is over time and the way that the shadows move, that does give you the north, the south, the east, and the west. All right, what time does the sun rise? The sunrise is in the east. Where are we going? We're going east. Look at the sunrise. That kind of energy. This does have a duality of playing back a recording over and over again, or the ability to play something new, create your own symphony, right? This is a boombox. You think of a beat, right? A rhythm. It could either be like somebody beat me, or it could be like, I'm not going to be stuck in this rhythm anymore because it's rattling my bones apart. I'm going to use my own skills to create some other kind of vibration for myself. Right? This is perhaps enjoying some guilty pleasures that might not be the best thing for you, but it's certainly one isn't going to harm you. And that's why this hamburger is so small, at least in this instance. All right, just a little treat to make life worthwhile. But here, the shields up is, I'm not going to be like gullible and open and just let people come in and take whatever they want. This is the like standing up for yourself energy. It's sort of like flying forward by the seat of your pants, like a near miss rescue kind of energy. The like, I'm taking a deep dive into something. And we have the snowman here. And it's just like, I get the idea of people like building up an edifice of what they think you are, but at the slightest instance of true illumination, this exterior just melts and the water flows elsewhere, right? It goes to move on to some other path in the universe once it melts. And we see that this snowman has 2 stick arms. And it relates back to the tree and to this idea again. And again, these are just bifocals to sort of hammer home that point of your eyes sort of scanning 2 different directions at once. But if I wanted to move these 2 cards like this and shift the energy, then these pair of aces would be looking at each other. And all that I've done is really change the alignment, the direction of the cards a little bit, right? I didn't have to turn them around much. All I did was move this one over and move this one over and down a little bit. And now there's a unity where people are seeing eye to eye. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth saying here. Again, this could be it looks like a romantic relationship, but it could just be this idea of standing up for the truth, yourself, holding on to your own mental identity can open the way for emotional fulfillment, right? It's like I can see it through the window, it's coming, right? And it's sort of like this, he has the sunrise behind him, it's shining through the window, right? Because she's dressed like she just got up from sleeping, right? She's just gotten up from the coffin, basically, from the sarcophagus. I mean, this whole reading is sort of indicative of essentially like pulling focus back into your own truth and emotional resonance instead of focusing on what other people are trying to contribute to the system, right? Pulling things back into basically from this stretched thing where your point of view exists with someone else's point of view, and pulling that back into round to a single focus. Because if you look at the sun, if you look at diagrams of the sun, it has a single focal point. And that's kind of what's going on here. Right? Don't focus on what other people are telling you is and isn't part of you and your system. It's stretching it out and making that wheel chunk every time it turns. So by pulling focus back in on what your truth is and your own health and evolution and maturity, you realign yourself to your own soul identity, your own emotional resonance, your own self-confidence, and the truth of who you are as a being. It sounds easy on paper, but in practice it's a little more challenging, so we'll leave it there. If you want to get more information, I have several different readings available. Possibly life purpose might be useful for expanding on this theme, but I mean, it's sort of whichever whatever sort of resonates and sounds like it might be the right thing. So I have several different kinds of readings with different spreads, so you can check those out in the description box down below. And let me move the camera a little bit. Alright. So if you do want to get a personal reading, you can email me, thecatcameback@camp@gmail.com. If you found this helpful or interesting, please consider donating. Hit that tip jar, energy exchange, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me. That's thecatcameback@camp, all one word, lowercase, @gmail.com. All of this stuff here is through my Linktree, linktr.ee/cattheminion, so you can get to all of those payment points, email, social media, and other things that I have for sale through the Linktree. So I've got some coloring books, a dark poetry book, merch, and prints and actual art items, originals here on Etsy. So including that copy of these charms that I've got here. There's 205 charms in each set. It's 4 sheets of paper to print out your own set, or you could buy the 2 printouts that I already have. It's on the exact same paper cardstock that I made these on. So that's in Etsy. If you get 3 or more items, that's 17% off with this coupon for my Etsy shop. If you go through the Linktree, that coupon code should pop in at the top. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Okay, this is the Karmic Debt pile. This is for Earth energy for September 14th through October 13th. And if we're looking at planets and what's going on with their movements, we've got Venus and Mercury and Saturn. If you're watching for your astrological sign, we have Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. Sorry about the lawn mowing and or neighbors' dogs barking. There's not much I can do about it right now. So the Karmic Debt reading, I've got the Aquarian Tarot and the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So I did already clear and shuffle these. I'm just going to get them a little bit more before I lay out the spread here. So the spread that I'm using is one that I have for sale. It's called the Help Me, I Can't Afford a Reading. It's a 6-card spread that I offer for $9 for people who are strapped and have low income. And it can be modified to mimic any larger reading that I have. And I'll just use the cards slightly differently than I do for a generic tell me a story kind of reading that I do with that spread. Alright. Happened to me last time, I got 2 cards out instead of the 3 that go at the top. So we're talking about karmic debt, and this is kind of to do with stuff that has been plaguing you for a long time, stuff that seems to happen over and over again and nothing ever changes. It's kind of insane at this point. And hoping that this is finally when it's going to be paid off. Right? It's like getting rid of that student loan or that car loan, or finally paying off that $100 you owe so-and-so. Okay, we got a double here. And I'm going to take it. I did bring out the book just in case I need to get some additional information on what's going on, which means I'll probably end up using it. Oh, again with the lawn mowing and then a motorcycle. Am I in focus? Let me get this all in here. There we go, that's a little better. Oh, except for when I push too hard on the stand. Okay, I think that's pretty much in focus. Okay. 10 of Cups inverted, which I did see pop out in the Lenormand section here. 7 of Cups in the challenge position. I haven't used the Aquarian Tarot in a while. I'm really enjoying these illustrations right now. Look at that, I got a rainbow going this way and a rainbow going that way. A spiral. 5 of Pentacles in the challenge position. 7, 5 is 12, which is Hanged Man energy. Like a 12-step program to releasing karmic debt because of extreme unhappiness, like depression, morbid, abysmal depression, the complete antithesis of happiness. Morose motherfucker. Okay, this wants to be apparently sideways, so I'm gonna... So we have the 4 of Swords. This is something that's on the move, because this card wouldn't really stay in any given direction. I'm going to keep it like that so it's a little easier to see. The 4 of Swords is like a low vibration of the Hanged Man, which I called out here. But it's... Here, it's... the way that it's moving reminds me of waking up like snapping out of a sleep and being like, oh, that was a weird dream, and then you go for a little bit and then you wake up again, like Inception. So it's kind of like waking up out of multiple layers of something that's been draining you, like having two eureka moments at the same time, or like in rapid succession. I have the 6 of Swords inverted. This is my we need to go deeper card. So I want a little bit more, so I'm going to look at the bottom of the deck, and I have the 4 of Rods here. I'm going to leave this like that, though. This over here. So the 4 of Wands is foundational energy. It's usually thought of to be like a twin flame card if you're involved in that kind of situation, but it is foundational. It does have to do with masculine and feminine energy coming into balance as this foundation. I have a 4 here and a 4 here. This is I'm trying to pin down like where to land. Like, what am I going to wake up to find out of some kind of nightmare, ongoing nightmare. 6 of Swords, when it's upright, is usually my, like, sailing away from the bullshit. But an alternate meaning that I have for the 6 of Swords is when you've been working really hard towards a goal and you just kind of let go of the steering and let the universe finish guiding the boat to where you need to be. Right? It's like, I'm not going to fight the stream anymore. I'm not going to paddle faster in the direction that I'm already going. That's an alternate meaning that I have for the 6 of Swords, besides just like toodaloo motherfucker. This is... But when it's inverted, it usually tells me a scorpionic energy of I need to go deeper. And it does make me think of Inception again, like how deep, how many like layers deep do you need to be? You know, like if you're in layer 5, are you going to live to be like 600 years old? Meanwhile, like half a second has gone by in the material world. There's this idea of time kind of standing still in a dream world. But the Hanged Man energy here, where things are in a challenge, also makes me think of this kind of cosmic dream world. It's like having a vision. And I don't know how to explain how this is. It's not refusing to be guided. It's like a karmic cycles that keep repeating because you insist that you have to do something. Right? It's like, I've tried this, I tried that, 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 and I tried that, and I'm still miserable. So maybe I gotta keep trying some. And, you know, like, I tried all these things and I still got shut out. And the general concept here is, in order to be aligned, in order for alignment, there has to be this moment where you kind of let go of control of steering yourself where you're going, right? This sort of spinning nightmare. It's kind of like the tornado that plunked what's her face there, Dorothy, down into Oz. Right, sort of transported to some other world vision kind of thing. So there's this aspect of letting go a little bit, of realizing that constantly trying to do something to change your situation may have created like karmic aftershocks. Right, you're digging yourself deeper. But it's happening in this kind of psychic, subconscious level. So let's look at this double advice card over here. We have the Sorcerer inverted, which does have to do with trying to control the universe in some way. And look at the rainbow again. Friggin' rainbow. Reading rainbow. And the Tree of Life inverted. Now, this does seem like this can be awfully closely related to the other two piles. But this one more so to the Lenormand pile, because one of the charms that came out was a tree inverted, and I'm seeing that here. This is 58, which breaks down to 13, which is a death cycle, which is scorpionic energy, which is what I get when I see the Six of Swords inverted. The Sorcerer is a 48, which breaks down to 12, which comes into that Hanged Man energy again, which is actually Neptunian energy. So I'm looking at Neptune, and I'm looking at Pluto. Now, Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, and Pluto is retrograding in Capricorn, which is this energy. But Pluto's going retrograde in October. I'm doing this right. The 6th of October. So if you haven't watched the little energy report at the beginning of this video, that might be useful. But let's look at these. Let's look at the Sorcerer first. When these cards are inverted, that means there's a medicine, which is going to help us figure out what to do in the face of this multi-layer karmic burrito that's still ice cold in the middle and boiling on the outside. No whiz in the juice. Okay. So we have the Sorcerer. Source of dark power, the destructive aspect of the human psyche, and the self-centered behavior that harms others. Okay, that's what causes karmic debt, right? Is basically energy theft. Right? You steal energy from people in terms of... I got a motorcycle break here. In terms of cosmic balance, if you steal energy from somebody or something, you have to give it back in some way. It symbolizes the unconscious beliefs, right? That could also be subconscious too, but we're looking at the dream state, right? What's happening when you're asleep? You're unconscious. Right? This sort of nightmare that's spinning out of control. The unconscious beliefs and ideas that foster separation, conflict, and scarcity, which is all what karma is sort of taking, like, points for karma for all of those. So when it's inverted, like it is here, have you been feeling out of sorts because you've been faced with your own character flaws and the pain that you inflict on others when you are out of alignment? Radical self-acceptance is called for now. You must reconcile these darker aspects of your nature so you don't behave irresponsibly and cause more harm to yourself and the ones you love. It's time to come out of denial and accept responsibility for your words and deeds. When you meet the energy of the sorcerer with humility, this destructive power transforms into grace. So scorpionic energy is a death cycle, but death can also be transformation, which you can use in service to the highest good. Perhaps it's time to make amends. Do it. It will set you free from the shadows and let you step into the light. Okay. Now, this could be a character that you're dealing with, especially if you've been gaslit into believing that you're the one who sucks, when in fact they are the asshole. It could also be, by not listening to my higher self or to my intuition and trying to force one through with the universe by constantly moving instead of just drifting once in a while, I have created some of this myself. Or you could be the one who is the asshole in the situation and you've been acting like a total biatch and you're like, oh, I need to take it down a notch or I'm never gonna feel any kind of happy release. Alright? Sometimes we end up being the crappy person in a situation and it's not, it's not something that has to taint you for the entire rest of your existence in every lifetime. It's something that can be remedied. And again, if it's something you're dealing with and you've been made to believe it's your fault, this is sort of an opportunity to take stock of what actually is and isn't part of your reality, right? This inception idea of planting an idea in someone else's head and making them think that it's their own. Right? I'm like, am I the one who sucks? I guess I did do this thing, even though you technically didn't, or you just entirely didn't. So there's sort of an idea of victim or aggressor, depending on what side of the equation you're on. But it's sort of like nobody's a saint in the history of everything. It's, just to some extent, playing a victim can create its own dark energy source. It's sort of a tricky tightrope to navigate. So we have the Tree of Life here, 58. The Tree of Life is a sacred symbol throughout the Americas. Its deep roots reach into the lower world, the unconscious, while its branches reach to the heavens, the source of destiny. That's kind of what the Hanged Man is waiting to connect to, that higher source. A tall tree with shallow roots falls in the first wind, but a tree with deep roots can weather any storm. Okay, so this might have to be dealing especially with root energy. We do see a fair amount of red popping up in here. So with it inverted, it says, what nutrients do you need to add to your soil to grow strong? The seed of the oak will not grow on a barren ground without the light of the sun. What dreams, I hear dreams, do you want to awaken to? What dreams do you want to awaken to create a mindful destiny? Okay, so it's like you have to navigate the dream world and then sort of select from the dreamotron which one you're going to bring back into the material world with you. And that is actually what happens to the hangman while he's on the thing. He's swinging upside down, flipping through the dreamotron, picking out which one. Here, it's sort of gone into a tailspin. Every time you try to grab onto a dream, it just sort of sinks into a different one. It morphs, which is what's going on with this sorcerer energy. Reflect on how you want to blossom, the kind of fruit you want to produce, right? That's manifestation. And where you want to sow your new seeds. That's expansion. Be a conscious creator. So this sort of grabbing at whatever you haven't tried yet isn't necessarily conscious. It's like treading water. Whereas you don't have to tread water, you could turn your boat back up and let it float. Right now you don't have to kick and scream as much. You don't have to keep flailing your limbs to stay afloat. So this could just be, in essence, besides all the other stuff, it could just be I've overturned myself and now I'm flailing. Alright, let's look at the bottom of this deck. So we have Thunder, also inverted. This is that Thunder is like the call of the universe screaming at you, basically, trying to get you to pay attention. So I'm going to skim this real quick and just look at the medicine. Do you feel like unnecessary drama is waylaying your life? Could you be exhausted from listening to others tell you their never-ending victim story? Right? I mentioned creation of dark energy through like focus on victimhood. Or could you be telling yourself a version of the same? It's time for an about face. You're being warned that to continue on this path will cause you to regret your choices, even if they appear benign or familiar. It's time to say no to drama, both to yours and others. Focus on solutions rather than problems. You are worthy of a drama-free life. Alright, what is karma but extended drama, basically? So this is a little bit choose your own adventure, but it's not just, we're not doing trial and error anymore, because the error is coming back as way more than anything else. Right, success rate diminishing. Perhaps sit and think about it and work smart, not hard. Right, it shouldn't have to be such a struggle just to exist in the day-to-day. There doesn't have to be all that misery of constant drama weighing you down. This is an opportunity to increase vibration by dealing with the root issue, which appears to be what it's looking like is someone is always a victim and someone is always aggressing. And that might not be the case, but it's like the initial act of a victim is to suck energy off someone else because you don't feel like you have enough. That's sort of the classic thing. I'm not saying you as in you personally, I'm just saying you as in like people in general. And it can come in terms of violence in physical form to steal energy via just general assault or sexual assault or It could be emotional, mental, or financial manipulation. It can be just, again, mental manipulation is like making fun of somebody or talking shit about somebody to make them less in some way, right? Because if someone else is less, not only have you sucked the energy off of them just being at a position, you've pushed them down and then use that same energy to propel you up in the other direction. So whether you know you've done this or you've seen it or you've experienced it or seen it happen, it's coming through as the karmic debt is to stop the cycle, to focus on the root issue, and to pull open to become conscious by pulling open the subconscious and saying, what is my dream? What does my dream look like without all this finger pointing that keeps it spinning around? I mean, it's not really a rosy reading, but it's sort of brutally honest. You know, if you've been in a victim mode, you might have lashed out, not wanting to or meaning to, but in this sort of feral protection that ended up actually kicking the karma into another whole run around the carnival ride. You know, it's like that. There's this, I think it's centrifugal machine at some fairs. There was one at a little amusement park near where I live, and it's a big circle and you stand against the wall and it spins fast enough to press you against the wall, and then the floor goes down, so you're just sort of suspended in the air by the force of the spinning itself. That's what this dream state is. But the thing is, we had to wait 15 minutes to go on the ride because it was wet because they hosed it down because the last ride somebody threw up on it. And this is sort of like every time you're trying to get the wheel spinning, there's this karmic debt where somebody pukes on you again. Now you're all gross and disgusting and you're freaking out, and now you're upset. And by the time you're done being upset, it's spinning around again, and now you're like, now you're puking because somebody puked on you. It's this sort of chain link of karma where there's like something that keeps happening that prevents an actual movement forward, where something gets to be distilled out of the situation of value, right? Because sometimes they spin those things to separate stuff out of the DNA or whatever, so it can be used to extract something of value from a situation too. But in this case, it's just people puking on each other, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, the root cause is don't go on the ride if it makes you sick. Get out of that drama cycle. It's kind of a weird analogy, but there it is. If you need more information about this topic, I do have several different readings available that you can purchase for yourself that will expand on those themes if you would like to. So the list of those readings is going to be down in the description box underneath here. If you found this useful or interesting or helpful in some way, please consider energy exchange, donation. The tip jar is PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. Those are all Cat the Minion. You can email me for any questions or comments or a reading or anything. I have coloring books, dark poetry, merch, prints, actual art items for sale. I have social media. You can come hang out with me. I have a coupon code for Etsy here, 3star17. You get 17% off a purchase of 3 or more items. So go have a peek and see if there's anything interesting. I've got some chapbook packs over there. It's writing and images, kind of like throwing down a few of these that might help with perspectives or synchronicities. And those are the cost of a greeting card. And if you get 3 of them, you get a discount. If you get 3 of anything or more on my Etsy shop, you get that discount. So all of these things are going to be in my link tree. And if you go through the link tree to Etsy, that coupon code should pop in at the top of the screen. So again, everything linktr.ee/cattheminion. Just kind of scroll down that link tree and you'll find all of these contact points there for facility. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.